Hey everyone, so I just finished listening to the Mass. My first reaction was uh, being completely awestruck by the purity of their tone when they're singing, and how accurately they are singing with great intonation, great blend and balance. If you're listening to music today, you'd almost think it was electronically produced because of how well they sing together, and how accurate, especially the rhythmic melisma was. One of my favorite parts of the Mass, in a larger sense, was the Gloria, and how before that movement started, they came out of this huge melismatic line that they sang in rhythmic unison, and then they kind of broke it up a little bit and played around with some texture of the voice and different articulations, and it was very interesting and almost inspiring to listen to, because I think that I'm not a vocalist, so for me, I was just impressed with how much the human voice could even accomplish throughout the Mass. It is extremely long, and I can't imagine the I'm trying to think of the word I'm trying to use. The strength you need to get through that. People did that all the time in medieval times. If they're singing that in church, it's quite often. I definitely think that listening to this recording is a different way of hearing music today, because you can tell in their recording space it was something that had similar acoustics to a medieval church. I just saw a fair share of medieval churches in Ireland, and they're set up with that. The churches actually had the altars and the pews where the choir would sit facing each other in the center of the church, and then they had pews for, I guess, people to sit on either side of it. So when you think about the architectural structure of medieval churches and how big they were, you can definitely hear that in the recording because of the sounds and how it kind of just blended together and really didn't have any place to bounce. It just kind of ascended. I feel like today we listen to music in different settings, and it kind of affects how we hear things. And that being said, I almost wonder if artists today even understand where music came from, because sometimes as a music major, I feel like I geek over this kind of stuff, and I wonder if they even have a thought about where music actually comes from. I feel like American music history is very prevalent in our culture, as well as some Western music from Europe, mostly from the 20th century, and this is going back a very, very long time. So I think it'd be interesting to talk to someone who is involved in the popular music scene today, and see what they know about music. I think that if I were to play this for my students at school, they probably would expect it, because I play a lot of different genres of music for them. I think that if I had them listen to a recording and then showed them a video of Anonymous Force singing it, they would have really appreciated it more, because their reaction would probably be very questioning and not understanding where it's coming from. But once they understood a little bit more of the history, I think they'd appreciate it more. My students probably wouldn't have, their initial reaction probably wouldn't have been the same as mine. So it's definitely an interesting topic, and I have a lot to think about now from Gregorian chant. So thanks for letting us listen to that Mass.